Hello friends, this is Vahid from the Art of Education channel and welcome to 7th session of Streamlit course. In this session, we will explore various status display widgets in Streamlit that help provide users with real-time feedback on ongoing processes, and also a couple of other widgets. We will talk about them. So those widgets are spinner, progress, and status. Using these kind of widgets, we can tell the user about what's going on behind the scene and how much time they need to wait for process to be completed. Like that, with them, we're gonna talk about metric, useful for tracking changes in key parameters, commonly used in dashboards. And also we'll talk about toast, a very familiar widget for displaying notifications to the users. And also we talk about popover, a widget similar to a dialog box, allowing user interaction. You can put a couple of different widgets inside the popover, and when user click on the popover widget, something like a dialog appear on the screen, and user can enter some information in them. So it's not going to occupy the main content of your website. Something gonna pop over on your site, and then user can close it. And also we're going to talk about JSON method. It's a widget that will show JSON information with a good look and feel, and also user can copy the content of the JSON for their personal usages. And it's important because nowadays JSON format is very popular, and most of the time we need to interact with the server and with other servers, or from client to the server, using JSON format for data exchange. And by the end of this session, you will have a solid understanding of how to effectively communicate to the user using progress or display metrics, and enhance user interaction in Streamlit, such as using popover. So let's dive in. So let's start this session with JSON. JSON is a very popular data format that used nowadays widely to transfer data from server to client and vice versa. And also you can pass data from your server to another server. And REST API or RESTful is based on JSON data format. So you need to use it maybe in your application, very probable. To render JSON in a good look and feel with good indentation, and in a way that user can read it very clear, we need to use st.json. So I prefer to use st.json instead of st.write, because you can use expanded option. What does it mean? Here we need to pass real data inside the body, and expanded is a variable that you can customize the visibility of levels inside your JSON object. A JSON object maybe contains some nested object inside it. So by passing through, you can expand it to the last level, so user can see it all at a glance. Or you can just pass the level as integer number. For example, I don't want user to be confused, and just expand the JSON to level 2. So what does it mean? I just have a JSON object here, and if I save the code, you can see the output here. It's a very good look and feel, and user can read it very clearly, and we have a lot of different levels here. Now I'm gonna pass expanded equal to false. So if I save it and refresh the page, by default we know that we have an object here, but it's not expanded. And also you can copy this one to clipboard if end user wants to copy the data or any part of this. You can copy any part to the clipboard, and this is the beauty of Streamlit. And also you can pass, for example, a level for I want to expand JSON object to the level 2. So if I save it and refresh the page, you can see it's by default expanded to the second level, but here it's not expanded because this is level 3, and inside level 3 we have some data. Because we specified a level 2, it just expanded to second level. And we don't have anything with JSON, nothing more. Let's comment it. And next item is a way that we can use to show exception. In previous session, we use st.write or st.error to show errors or exceptions. They are very good, and you can make use of them. But another option is to use st.exception. So let's see what's the difference. I'm going to add a try exception here, and I'm going to write a code that definitely calls an exception here, division by 0. And inside except part, I'm going to create exception as ex. So first of all, we can use error. This is very good for end user. Here we just show the title or the title of the message, division by 0, nothing else. User don't need to know anything about the stack trace or any extra information about our code. But for development phase, we use st.write x, and here you can see we have the type of the exception, the title of exception, and the stack trace for the exception here. And also you can use st.exception x. They are the same, exactly the same as st.write, but it's preferred to use st.exception because maybe in future or next version we have something specific for exception in st.exception, not write. Write is a multi-purpose and general method. So use anything specific for your needs, not a general item. And let's comment this one. So this is the exception. The next widget that I want to talk about is toast. Toast is a very small message that appears on the top of the web page, and you might see it already in many web pages. You can use this st.toast to tell something or some information to the user, and user can close that one. For example, I'm going to say st.toast. Here we have again a body and icon. We can pass an icon, or it's by default is none. We can add an icon to make it more user-friendly. So I'm going to say st, for example, operation done. So if you save it, you can see a message appear on the top of the page, and you can close it. It's not like st.info or st.success, because they are placed inside the web page. You cannot remove them. But for st.toast, user can see the message and close it or make it disappear. Now let's also add an icon. It's just same as other icon that we had in previous sessions. I'm going to use material slash thumb up, for example. Thumb up. So you can see this icon appeared on the left side of the message and somehow make it more friendly. And most of the time you need to use this toast to tell some information to the user about the operation or things that happened behind the scene. Another widget that I forgot to talk about in the first session that we just talked about checkbox is toggle. Toggle is the same as checkbox. It has two states. It's on or off or true or false, but the look at the UI or the view of this item is modern rather than using a rectangle. It's a switch. So I'm going to see that toggle. The parameter again, here we have a label, a value, it's by default false. And these items are the same as the previous widgets that we just talked about. The key is the identifier, help is a tooltip. These items is for a callback method. And these two items will be passed to this method if we set it. This is they're going to disable the widgets, and this will also hidden or make it visible the label. So we're not going to talk about them anymore. And I'm just going to say, okay, for example, show temperature, for example, temperature. And if I save it, you can see we have a very different item here. It's much more modern than a rectangle using checkbox. I preferred it a lot. And also you can pass, let me make it false, and pass the value and set it to true by default. So if I save the page, you can see it's by default true, and user can interact with your application through these toggle things. Next item is something like a dialog inside your operating system, such as Windows or Linux operating system. Sometimes you click a button and a dialog open. So you need to enter some data or some other things. And here in Streamlit, if you want to have something like a dialog, you need to use popover. Popover somehow mimic this behavior and open another container for you that you can add a lot of items inside that. Instead of adding them all inside your main page, you can add them inside the popover. So I'm gonna say, and this gonna work some in a way like this with st.popover. Okay, and here you can pass a label, and these are not very necessary. This is the tooltip. This icon can be appeared near the label. This can be disabled the popover, and this one is like the button. You can occupy the whole width of the container. So I'm gonna just pass a label, open config, for example, and inside it, I'm gonna say st.markdown or st.write, anything that you want to use. I'm gonna use very familiar text st.hello hello world, and after that I'm going to say I have a name here st.text input, and the label is enter your name, and after that I'm going to say st.info, the variable name. So you can check if name is not known and things like that. I'm not going to use that. So you can see here we have an open config. It's like a drop down. If you click on this one, the popover will be appeared, and all these items that we add in this part will be displayed here. Enter your name. For example, I'm going to say Vahid, and after that you can see Vahid is shown here. And we can use container width to true. It's going to occupy the whole width of the container. And also you can pass an icon, something like this, to make it much more user-friendly. So I'm going to add comma here. And if you save, the icon will be appeared, and if you click open, and also the popover will also occupy the whole container. This is the beauty of this one. And if I change it, for example, to Mina, again, the return things is Mina. So let's comment all these codes and move to the next widget. From now, we want to focus on the way that we want to inform user about something happened behind the scene, and you need to wait, loading things. First of all, we can use a spinner. A spinner is a way that we need to tell user, please wait. We don't know how or when it's gonna finish, but you need to wait for something to happen. We can use with st.spinner for this purpose. Here we can have a text. It's like the label for other widgets, and for cache, I think it will cache the result of the items, and if it's happened again, it's not gonna reload the spinner. So and that example is very good. You can use something like this with a spinner and something, for example, loading dot dot dot. And here I'm going to mimic an operation, import time data sleep 5 seconds, and after 5 seconds I'm going to say st.success done. Using time data sleep, we can somehow simulate a lengthy operation. So as you can see, loading things appear, and a spinner will be shown to user, and after 5 seconds it's completely removed from the page, and the continue of the code will be executed. Success will be added to the UI. So this is the way that you can use a spinner. So we use a spinner a lot to tell the user for the occasion that we don't know exactly when the operation will be finished. But what if we have some information about the length of the operation? In this situation, for example, I have an operation to take happen on a list of 100 items. So when when it's done on the first item, we can tell the user that we progressed by 1%, 2%, and things like that. For this item, we can use progress. With progress, we can tell or we can notify the user about the process that is happening behind the scene. So this is the way that we use the progress. First of all, we need to create a variable. So I'm going to use something like this, prg equal to progress. The default value is 0, and the value should be between 0 to 100 or 0 to 1, integer or float value. And also a message. I'm going to say sample progress. And after that, I'm going to say 4% in range 101. 101 time.sleep. I forgot to uncomment this one. Time.sleep, for example, 100 millisecond, and then prg dot progress that percent. And after that, st.success. Oops. Completed. So if I save it, you can see we have a progress bar here that show the user something happening, and you need to wait until the end of this bar. And after that, completed show. But here, the progress bar is not take out of the UI. So we have the progress bar here. Now, you might ask how to hide this progress bar from the UI. So we need to use a trick here. First, I'm gonna create a placeholder. So I'm gonna call it placeholder. It's equal to st.empty. st.empty is gonna create a placeholder for us, and we can add almost anything to this widget or this placeholder. Now here, instead of calling st.progress, we can say placeholder.progress. I need a progress inside this placeholder, and the things are the same here. And after the for loop, we can say placeholder.empty. Make it empty. I don't want nothing to be inside it. Let's run it one more time. Okay, you can see something in progress. And after that, the progress disappeared. So this is the technique that you can hide things using placeholder and using st.empty and create a placeholder. Now I'm going to use progress bar for another purpose. Imagine that we want to do a process contain 5 steps, and they're equally from the weight perspective. And when each step done, I want to notify the user using a message, and then make the progress bar in progress its value. So first, I'm going to say I need a progress prg. It's equal to st.prg progress 0, and I'm not going to specify any label here. So what should we do for a label? I'm going to create an status equal to st.empty. It's again an empty widget, and I can populate it. It's a placeholder. And for steps, so let me bring it from the codes I wrote before. This is the steps. For a step, I need to check internet connection, send request, receive data, and save data, and finally download complete message. This is my different step, 5 step. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Now I'm gonna say for in step in enumerate steps. So I have the index and also the specific item in each iteration. Status dot text, add a text to that empty widget or placeholder, a step, add it to the empty widget. prg should progress using that index. I'm gonna I plus 1 multiply by 20%, because we have 5 steps, so each step is equal to 20% of the whole operation. And I'm going to use time.slip 1 second and a half. And finally, let's add st.success. Oops. Oh, done. So if I save it, you can see we have check internet connection. After 1 second, send request, and after that, receive data, save data, and finally download complete. And after 1 hour, 1 second and a half, we print this one. So you can also use this technique to hide whole things here. Use it as a practice. So this is the way that we use progress bar in another way that most of the time we used it. But for this purpose, we have another widget in Streamlit. It named status. Using a status, we can do this operation, this multi-step operation, in a much better way and let user know about the progress. So how is it going to work? I'm going to comment all these items, and I'm going to say with st.status. So for a status, let's see what we have. We have a label and expanded. Expanded is so I'm going to talk about it. And finally, when the operation done, we have 3 states: running, complete, and error. By default, it's running, and you can set the operations after all the steps done. So let's do it very simple. I'm going to say downloading data, and here I'm going to say st.write. For example, one step is search for data. After that, I'm going to use time.slip, for example, for 2 seconds. And let's duplicate it a couple of times. After that, I'm going to say URL found, slip for example, 1 second, and then start downloading, slip for 2 seconds. And finally, I'm going to say status. Forgot to edit the name, still as status dot update. I'm going to update the widget, and the label, I'm going to change it to download complete, and the state, it's not running. I'm going to use complete, and expanded false. Let's also use expanded true here to see how does it look like. Expanded true. So if you see, we have a box here, the label downloading data, the spinner things. These are different steps, and after that, it's completely collapsed, and the label changed. And also we have a check mark here that it shows the operation or the state is complete. If you open it, you can see the different part here. So let's run it one more time. Here you can see when we reloaded the previous item grayed out, and when their turn is get into the queue, they will be getting more shiny. So let's run it one more time. Let's change one item, for example, data. So you can see these are grayed out, and these are the steps. So you can also use error here. After operation done, maybe something went wrong, so we can tell the user its operation is not complete. This is the operation. This is the icon that we use. And also for running, after the operation done, let's see what happened. We shouldn't use running because after the operation done, we don't have running state. So running and complete are the same for the state after the operation done. So you might want to use this one to tell the user about the different steps happening for a process in the background. and it's a very useful widget, I think. So let's also comment this one. And the last item that we want to talk about is metric. Metric is a way that we want to tell the user some information and some changes in that data. For example, the temperature is right 4 degree cooler or hotter or something like that. Metric. As the parameter, we have again label, a value, a delta. Delta is the value that changed from the previous options. And by default, if it goes up, it will be shown using green color, and an up arrow. If it's negative value, it's shown with a down arrow item. Let's see how is it working. So I'm going to say the temperature value 70 degree in Fahrenheit, and the delta it's equal to, for example, Fahrenheit. Let's save it. So you can see we have a temperature 7, and then if I change it to minus, now the red. But sometimes somehow express a positive activity regard to that concept. So we can change the delta color. We have different items here. You can have normal, inverse, or off. If you use inverse for negative value, it shows it's getting down, but it's meaning something positive or something good. Or if you change it to a positive number, it says it goes up, but it's not good. It has a negative impact. And you can use off. Off gonna grade it out, so it doesn't mean anything, or it's neutral. And also you can use border to add a border to this box. So by default, it's occupy the whole width of the container, and we use columns in future to add different metrics side by side, and it's going to tell a lot of good information to user about it's something like a dashboard for a user, so you can provide some good information about some metrics that you have in your code. So these are the widgets that I plan to talk about in this session, and I hope you enjoy it. Till next session, and talking about multimedia widgets. Goodbye.